Why am I here today? I'm really partial to the name. I love the word Empire State Line. It just kind of reminds me of the grandeur of New York State and what we strive for. We're very aspirational here in the state of New York. We dream big, we dream boldly, and we actually accomplish extraordinary things. So you're part of that story, and I want to make sure that when it comes to energy transformation, and we have the right transmission lines to do it. We have incredible sources of power here, right in our backyard, Niagara Falls, and how we've harnessed that for so many generations. And I want to thank my partners at NYPA here as well for the work they do. But we had to undo a bottleneck. I mean, there's so much energy that has to come, as you said, replace pre-existing sources that no longer were there, because we have to make sure we transition to clean energy. How do you get the clean energy to people? You have to build new transmission lines. And so I thank you for being a partner with us in state government to accomplish that important goal. And as you've heard a couple times, we do proudly have the most ambitious energy goals in the nation. And if they're not, we'll one-up it a little bit more, because we're always going to be the best. This is New York. We're a little bit bold. Rebecca, you'll learn that about New Yorkers. We're very bold and proud of our state. We are going to have 70% of electricity from renewables by 2030. That is extraordinary. That is extraordinary. And when we accomplish that, and I'm sure you'll all be here by 2030. A little while ago, it sounded like so far off into the future. No, we're all going to be here in 2030. You're going to know on this day you are part of that energy revolution. Your participation here today means you are part of this story of how we decided intentionally to shift from fossil fuel energy sources and say, no, we're going clean, we're going renewable, and we're going to be protecting our environment. So renewable energy across the state is so important to us. We just authorized a number of major lines that are going to be powering New York City, Clean Path New York, Champlain Power Express. People thought those were almost too bold in their scale, too ambitious. And I said, no, we can get this done. We're New Yorkers. So that'll help take care of New York City's energy challenges, but also right here in Western New York, a little partial to Western New York. I know Western New York. I used to represent this area. So I want to make sure that the points closest to those energy sources also are served with low-cost, reliable power. And that's what we're doing here today. And as you heard the words 37 megawatts of clean energy, 3,700. And I said, well, what does that mean? For people like me, what does that actually mean? That's 1.5 times the capacity of the Robert Moses Niagara hydroelectric plant. So we're talking something rather extraordinary here. And I said, what will that do? Well, it's going to reduce carbon emissions by 7.4 million tons. Okay, what does that mean? That's the equivalent of getting 1.5 million cars off the road every year. That's the impact on our environment of what we're doing here today and why we're doing it. And not the least of which is also how we save our consumers on their bills. This will save, over the lifespan of this project, over $950 million in reduced demand and congestion and production cost saving, and that goes back in the pockets of our consumers. So I want to give a big round of applause to NextAir for getting the job done. These are extraordinary accomplishments, but also, how was this built? It was built by the best labor you can find, and that is by Western New York Building Trades. I want to thank the laborers represented by Sam Capitano here. We had over 150 labor jobs. Those are great jobs. There's a lot of dignity in this, and all those workers need to know when they look up the work that they did, their handiwork, that they're actually part of challenging all of us to do better for future generations. And it doesn't hurt that results in $3.5 million in local revenues for the local municipalities. Let's give a round of applause for all of those people watching your budgets. And this is an important time. Earlier this week, I made some other clean energy announcements. Why we talk about this so much? Because we are the first generation to really feel the effects of climate change. We truly are. The unbelievable effects of the climate and what's happening in other parts of our country, but even here in New York State, we had a hurricane. I took office less than a year ago. My first week on the job, I had not one but 2 hurricanes slamming New York City, shutting down our subways. It was extraordinary. That never happened before. And there's a direct correlation between climate change and what's happening to our climate itself. So we're the first generation to really feel the effects. We're also the last generation that can do something meaningful about it. And that's why today's story is so important. It's not just about us here today, but it's also about future generations. And as the first-time grandmother, I'm really focused on future generations because I have a little tiny baby that's looking to all of us to make the decisions today that'll lead to a much brighter future for them tomorrow. So I want to thank all of you for being here today. We're going to continue our bold efforts, but this project here today, an important cornerstone in our efforts to literally save and protect our planet, power homes and businesses, lower cost to our consumers, and creating jobs in the process. If this is not a win-win, I don't know what it is. So thank you, everybody. Congratulations on the great success here.